Dragon Quest III 2D HD is my most anticipated remake currently, and that's actually surprising because I've only really played this game recently in 2018, and over time as I replayed it more and more, there's more I've grown to appreciate about it. Yeah, I do have my own issues, like the fact that the story's a little bit on the flimsy side, and the fact that your characters don't really talk too much, but I like the customization that you get from your characters, and I like the freedom you have when exploring the world in Dragon Quest III. There's a lot that I can explore and discover in this game. It's part of the reason why I love Dragon Quest III. And I guess this is a little bit of a Dragon Quest III review spoiler when I get around doing that review. But today, we're not talking about a review. We're talking about things I would like to see in the upcoming 2D HD remake and why I would like to see them. The latest version of Dragon Quest III, which is the mobile release, is probably the most bare-bones version of the game. It removes a lot of content that existed within the Super Famicom and Game Boy version of the game. Things like the TNT board and the Ice Cave are just to name a few. And on top of that, graphically the game just looks like shit. At least the Switch version, the mobile version looks fine. So of course, the big thing I want to go on and mention for the 2D HD remake that I would like to see is the return of features that were in the Super Famicom remake or Game Boy Color remake. At least the fan favorites like the Ice Cave and the TNT board. Those are things I like to see in this game here, and hopefully makes it the definitive way of playing Dragon Quest III. Now the next feature I would like to see in this 2D HD remake is a little bit pie in the sky, a little bit too optimistic of hoping that this will come in and be added into this version of the game. What I'd like to see is the option to switch between different versions of the soundtrack for Dragon Quest III. Specifically the original 8-bit version, then the 16-bit version, then the MIDI version, and the orchestral version. That'll be amazing to see in this game right here, that you'll have so many options to choose from in terms of which music you want to use, and also gives you a preference of whether or not you like the original 8-bit music or orchestral. And the main reason why I think this will not happen is because Sugiyama Kobo, the company that owns the Dragon Quest music, is relatively stingy when it comes down to the music rights for Dragon Quest. And they will only allow Square Enix to have particular versions of the soundtrack. What I think will happen is pretty similar to Dragon Quest XI's, where you have the option to switch between the MIDI version or the symphonic version, which is fine by me. It's nice to have those options right there at the very least, and hopefully maybe the mining community can do more. Now the next thing I'd like to see, quite honestly, is more post-game content. The Super Famicom remake and Game Boy Color remake, they're fine extras. The bonus dungeon was a pretty hard dungeon for me, and I haven't tried out the Ice Cave, but I heard it's really hard. But I don't want just bonuses, I want an extension to the plot. I like to see what happens in between Dragon Quest III and Dragon Quest I. What does our hero do after he defeats Soma in Dragon Quest III and he's trapped in Nilfgaard? That is something I would love to see right there. I don't think they're going to do that primarily because I think the developers want to keep the plot contained with what's already been told in Dragon Quest III. And that's fine by me as well. If they want to keep it one-to-one in terms of plot summaries, then that's fine. But it's a little bit disappointing to me primarily because they're already going their way to redesign towns and dungeons and caves. So I'd like to see them do something a little bit different with the plot or add more to the plot. And now the final thing I would like to see in Dragon Quest III 2D HD remake is basically something that's been established within the Dragon Quest franchise for a while, and that is party chat. Pretty much the ability to talk to your party members and see what they're currently thinking at that moment in time, what they're thinking about when an event just happened and the such. In Dragon Quest III, for any version at the very least, none of your party members actually talk. They're basically just what they are, units that you create to go out on an adventure. While there are those few times they do talk, it's very few and far between. For the most part, they're basically just mute characters. The one thing I always wanted in a version of Dragon Quest III is the ability to see what they are currently thinking. For example, when the king loses his crown to a group of Robin Hoods, I wanted to know what they thought about the current situation, what they thought about the king. Do they really need to go on this quest to go out and get this crown back? Or when you go to Jinping and you find out that the leader in that town is actually the evil monster Orochi, I wanted to know what they thought about that current situation, that their leader was basically this giant eating monster. And unfortunately, they just don't say anything. Not even you. But to be fair, you're the mute character, so that's fine. But for the party members, I wanted to hear something from them. It doesn't need to be too in-depth, I just want some simple things of them saying something like, "Oh, I can't believe this person was Orochi." And depending on the gender and class, maybe mix up the flavor text of how they interpret what's going on in that current moment in time. I think this will be an amazing feature to add into Dragon Quest 2D HD remake, and I hope the developers at Square Enix greatly consider adding in this feature. So yeah, those were my thoughts on the upcoming 2D HD remake and what I'd like to see in this upcoming game. And yeah, some of the crazy ideas that you think will never happen in the release. But hey, sometimes we need to think of those crazy ideas, give us reasons to why certain games are our most anticipated games, even though those crazy ideas never happen. But I'd like to know what you guys think in the comments. Are you guys excited for Dragon Quest III 2D HD Remake? And what features would you like to see in this upcoming game? I'd love to know them in the comments, and leave a like on the video as well. Thank you guys for watching this video, and hope to see you guys in the next one.